I'm such an idiot. Don't do this. Don't do what I did. Roll the intro thing.
Comically correct comics.
What's up, comic familia? Check out these incredible Berserker sets that are pre-selling now over on my Instagram page. We've got the 1 in 1,000 set, which comes with 15 different covers here, signed by the man himself, Keanu Reeves. This one is almost certainly gone by the time you watch this and is in crazy price anyways. We also have the 1 in 500 set, the 1 in 200, the 1 in 100, the 1 in 50, the Grandpa set, the 1 in 25 set, the Brooks set, the 1 in 10 set, or just the regular covers. One thing is for sure, I will not be beat on price. If you're planning on getting Berserker comic books, you should buy them from me. You'd help support the channel and support your wallet because you will be getting the best price guaranteed. So hit me up over on Instagram to see availability and prices at comically_correct_comics, or shoot me an email at comicallycorrectcomics@gmail.com. Enjoy the show. What's up, guys? Welcome back to Comically Correct Comics. I'm Bry, and thank you so much for stopping by. I'm repping the Very Gary Comics shirt today. Very Gary sent this to me himself. Thank you so much, Gary, for a reason, because today's video, we have my Spawn number 9 unboxing. Okay, so I sent off some Spawn number 9s. I bought them from Very Gary about 6 months ago. I bought 100 copies of Spawn number 9 from Gary. As if that wasn't enough, I went and bought 5 more copies on eBay. And so 105 copies total. And today we have about 125 book unboxing from CGC. Now there is a ton of different stuff in there. Anytime there's a multiple comic, I'll just fast forward that part or cut it out completely. So it won't be just a totally boring video for you. But I think there is a lot of value in this video as well, because I submitted these books about 6 months ago, like I said, and that was really the first really large submission that I ever did to CGC. And since then, my comic game has totally changed and grown. I actually want to try to focus on selling comics full time, and I think I'm headed in that direction. So since then, I've learned a ton, especially about submitting to CGC. In particular, I've learned 3 things, and there's 3 rules that I think would be helpful to anyone for submitting to CGC. Rule number 1 is you need to learn how to grade books. And that sounds intimidating. I know, trust me, I get it. In fact, 6 months ago when I did this first large submission, I was so intimidated by it that I thought, I'll just take all of these books. They all look pretty good to me. They look good through the bag. And I'll just submit them all to CCS, have them quick pressed, and then pre-screened by CGC and hope for the best. Don't do that. That is just going to end up costing you a bunch of extra money in rejection fees and a bunch of time waiting in the process. So really, you have to familiarize yourself with grading enough to know what's a pressable defect and what isn't a pressable defect. In fact, I did a whole video on pressable defects. I'll put a link to it up here somewhere, and a link down in the description, where we go through every pressable defect and it really just lays it out. It's not that complicated. Basically, in a nutshell, anything that breaks color on the comic is not pressable. Typically, anything that doesn't break color is pressable. That's it in a nutshell, but watch the whole video if you want the complete explanation of what to look for in a pressable defect. Lesson number 2 that I've learned since I submitted these books is don't submit books prematurely. Okay, and what I mean by that is don't submit books that are super hot, that have a ton of hype around them, of undeveloped characters. I think there's some virus and Venom slabs in this submission, and don't get me wrong, I love the story arc of the Venom series, especially the Venom Beyond story arc, and I love the covers. There's some incredible covers, but if you're doing it for an investment purpose or a quick flip to try to make some money, don't submit books for characters that are undeveloped, okay? If you're keeping them for the PC, by all means, submit them. If they're staying in your PC and you don't even care about grade, you might not even need to pre-screen them. But if you're doing it to try to make a buck, you need to pre-screen, and you need to not submit books on undeveloped characters. It's just too soon. Now, the third lesson that I've learned since submitting this, and this one's kind of up to personal preference, but that is whether or not to have your books pressed by CCS. CCS is the pressing service for CGC. When you submit them, you send them to the same place, okay? It's the same company. I believe they're in the same building, or they just walk it down to the next building, something like that, same location. I had all of these books pressed for a quick press by CCS. And it's important to note that quick press has nothing to do with the turnaround time, okay? Their current turnaround time for a quick press is 99 working days. That comes out to 4.5 months just for the pressing. And then CGC's turnaround time is 42 working days at the time of making this video, which is about 2 months. So it's all said and done, you're looking at best case scenario, 6.5 months for your books to get pressed and graded by CCS and CGC. And it seems like that wait time, that turnaround time is just getting longer and longer and longer. People are just doing what I did and just, well, I'll just send them all to the same place. But there are other options, you guys. But back to the cost of having your books quick pressed by CCS. A quick press is $8, and it has nothing to do with the turnaround time. Once again, what it means is that they press and clean the book once, okay? So with the regular pressing service, which is $12 for a modern book, they'll dry clean it if it needs it, press it, and then if it comes out of the press and there's still like a pressable defect that's noticeable, they'll press it again. That's with the regular service. With the quick press, it's one and done. They press it once and it's done. So that's what they mean by quick press. All that to say, there are other options for pressing, okay? Find a presser locally or on Instagram that has a good reputation, a loyal following. I recommend Eric at comicbook_pressing on Instagram. Okay, I'll put his info, I'll link him up down in the description. He has awesome prices, amazing turnaround time. He's an honest guy, totally trustworthy, does great work. What else could you ask for? I mean, I've had tons of books pressed by him, and I would recommend him. If you do decide to go with him, tell him that Bri from Comically Correct Comics sent you, and you will get free return shipping for new customers. And I don't get a kickback from that or anything. We haven't like worked anything out where I get a kickback from that. It's just something that I'm always looking for ways to add value to the subscribers of the channel. And there you go. You're looking for a presser, you want free return shipping. Tell them Comic Guy Bri sent you. If you're not already subscribed and you wouldn't mind hitting that subscribe button, you get great information, valuable offers like this. Why wouldn't you? Huh? So this also is going to be a very interesting unboxing because we'll get to see a lot of rejected books, and we'll get to see CCS's quick pressing results. I'll get to look at the rejected books and say, oh, this book was pressed by them, and see like how good did they do. So that'll be really interesting. And also, I've always wondered, is CGC more lenient when you have books pressed by CCS? So we'll get to see that as well. We'll get to look at the graded books that came back 9/8 and see if they were a little bit more lenient. So let's dive into it. So how it works is they send you back your raw books. Here it says raw books inside and a little Gemini mailer type thing. We'll get into that in a sec. Okay, so this is the spawn box. This box is completely spawn. I'm going to fast forward here in a sec as I pull them all out. Like I said, there is a ton of other books as well, so we'll get into that. But I just wanted to take a look at this. So this is Spawn number 9, the first appearance of Angela. And it says up here, first appearance of Medieval Spawn and Angela. Angela poster by Jim Lee. Neil Gaiman story, Todd McFarlane cover, and art. Some people say this is an homage to a Wonder Woman cover. I'll put that one up right here. You tell me, do you think this is an homage to that? I'm not so sure, but maybe it is. Now I'm going to pull out all these books and see if I find anything interesting. All right, so there we have it. There's 23 copies of Spawn number 9 in this box. All right, so we have another reject box. This one's pretty thick, a lot heavier than the last one. I will get to the rejects here in a second. All right, so in this box, we've got a bunch more Spawn 9s, and I'm seeing a lot of interesting things about what they were allowing in 9.8. This book is notorious for color rub because it has a black back cover and a white front cover. And I got to tell you, I'm a little bit surprised with some of these, some of the amount of color rub that they're allowing. All right, so 17 in that box. That means there's probably 8 rejects because 25 come in a box. All right, let's get to box number 3. I'm thinking I might disappear here in a minute. All right, some more raw book rejects. This one's not too thick at all, not too thick. All right, so 4 spawns in that box, plus a bunch of other books that are all different. So I'm gonna hit the other spawns up. I'll get the spawns out of the way, and then we'll check out the other books. So I just remembered what's going on. So I have 4 boxes here from CGC. Turns out there's a 5th one that for whatever reason got like hung up and is a little bit late, so it hasn't got here yet. I did check online, and it has 21 copies of Spawn number 9 in it for a grand total of 73 Spawn number 9. It's all in a CGC 9.8 white pages. Let's take a look at some numbers and see how much I'm in it for these bad boys. So with my elite tier discount at CGC, the total for all of the grading is $1,606. That's all in with shipping and everything. I paid I had 105 books for Spawn 9 quick pressed, and that comes to $840. There was 32 rejects, and the fee for rejects is $5. That comes to $160. $1,545 was the initial cost of the raw books from Very Gary. Comes to a grand total of $4,151, all in for 73 9.8. And I still have the 32 rejects. They could be 9.6s. They could be really high grade near mint copies, and I have 32 copies of Spawn 9 for that. So if you take my cost, my all-in cost for these Spawn 9s, $4,151 divided by 73, because I have 73 9/8. That means that comes to $56.86. Now I have to times that by 1.13 because it costs 13% to sell on eBay. eBay takes 10%, PayPal takes 3. So you times by 1.13 and you get $64.25. So if I sell all of these for $64.25, I break even. And then I still have the 33 raw copies. Now, these are selling for anywhere between $80 and $120 on eBay. So if I sell them for $128 a piece, I double up and still have the 33 raw copies. So that would be like over $4,000 profit if I can sell them all for $128 each. Obviously that's not going to happen today, but if news is announced about Angela being in the MCU, that changes everything. Okay, I'm gonna be a very happy man if she gets cast in the MCU. So I'm doing okay. I'm gonna do okay. Now, when I bought these from Very Gary, he said that he thought about 80% of them would come back 9/8 with a quick press. That's exactly what he said. I got 73. So let's call it, because I bought 5 extra, let's call it 70% came back 9/8. I am happy with that. I will take that all day. Thank you so much, Very Gary. I mean, it's totally subjective. Plus, all of these raw books, I haven't even looked at them yet. There could be some 9/8s in there. Maybe they just need another press or a little clean. I don't know. But I'm totally happy with the transaction from Very Gary. Now, would I do anything differently for this? Hell yes. What I would do differently is I would have pressed them myself. I spent $840 on pressing fees for this. My pressing setup with all the equipment was like $250. So I could have got 3 pressing setups for the same price that it cost me to have these pressed. So that's the first thing I would have done differently, is I would have pressed them myself. The second thing I would have done differently is I only would have submitted the ones that were true 9.8 candidates and saved $160 on reject fees. I paid $160 on reject fees. That's not too bad. This was the easiest, the fastest. I mean, I didn't have any time wrapped up in my time. It just had a long turnaround time, but it's fine because news hasn't hit about her anyways. And I'm just going to hold. I'm just going to hold on to these until hopefully we get some news about her being in the new Thor movie, and I'm just going to hold on to them. So yes, it was a learning lesson, but not a catastrophic one, and I'm really, really grateful for that. This could have gone completely south the other way if they would have been stricter with these grades. If they wouldn't have let some of this color rub go, I could have got like 10 back or 20 back and been just totally screwed. So I'm really happy with the way it worked out. It could have been so much worse. All right, so I had to go ahead and get these out of here and put them up on the back. And I gotta say, guys, this army of Angelas is badass. I am not mad at this at all. I don't mind holding on to these until we get news or don't get news about her. I mean, I definitely will sell them, but man, does she look badass. So now we have all these raw books to go through, and basically I just want to take a look at them real quick and see some of the stuff that got rejected. I know there's going to be some really, really bad books in there that had no business being pressed or pre-screened at all, but I want to see what kind of work that CCS does. Because I will say, for these slabs, I looked at every single one of them, and there's like a little bit of a line up and down the spine of every single book. And I've always wondered if they would allow that and still get a 9.8. And what it's from is when you press a book, you put a bunch of stuff inside. You put like a magazine size backing board in the middle at the staples so that the staples don't poke through the covers. You put like some silicone release paper in between the covers so the covers don't stick to the other pages, and you put some other things and basically make a sandwich inside the book. So there's more pages in the book than was originally stapled, and what that does is it makes a little indent and line right around the spine. Now, I figured out a way to do it where that doesn't happen, but I've seen other pressers where it does happen, and obviously it doesn't matter. Obviously, it's okay. You can still have that pressing sandwich line up and down the spine and still get a 9.8. So I wasn't sure about that, but now I definitely have confirmation. I don't know. I think that they do a good job pressing at CCS, okay? They do a good job, but not great, all right? I think Eric at comicbook_pressing on Instagram does better than this. I'm a little disappointed because they said that they do cleaning too, and some of this color rub on the cover, the black color rub, could easily come off with just with a simple eraser. I don't know. I think it looks good. It looks like they did a good job, and maybe they actually did do a lot of cleaning on these books. Maybe that's why so many of them came back 9/8. So as you can see from right there, that a lot of the color rub that came off of the back cover of this came off on the comic book board. And it's like, well, what can you do about that? I mean, just having the book on a board and the ink came off. I mean, leave a note in the comments, you guys. What do you think about the color rub situation where the back cover was coming off on the back of the comic book backing board? I mean, what are you supposed to do? You put the comic in a backing board and the ink comes off on the backing board. Is it the type of backing board that's being used? I mean, I've seen it time and time again with all kinds of comics from all different places. Leave a note in the comments. Have you ever experienced that? Is there any kind of solution that you know of for that? And I think I'm going to have to wrap this video up at this point because it's gone on long enough. Stay tuned for the next video or another video where I do the unboxing of the other books. There's some really exciting stuff in there along with some of those learning lessons that we talked about. But thank you so much for stopping by. I am digging the army of Angelas behind me. I am not mad at those at all. Leave a thumbs up if you got anything helpful out of this video. Leave a thumbs down if you suck at life, and we will see you at the next video. Bye.
Comically correct comic.